Hello everyone, welcome to GSS Core. This is Ajay Shah. So let's start the discussion of 10 MCQs today. So this is the first question for you, and this question is on Composite Water Management Index. So the first statement says it has been launched by Ministry of Jal Shakti. So this statement is factually wrong because Composite Water Management Index has been launched by Niti Aayog in assistance with Ministry of Jal Shakti. Now the second statement says majority of Indian states are demonstrating progress on the water index. So this statement appears to be a little tricky, but this statement is wrong because as per the latest index, all the majority of the Indian states, they have shown positive progress as far as this water index is concerned. So correct answer will be option number B. Now some value addition. So Niti Aayog has launched Composite Water Management Index in 2018 as a tool to instill a sense of cooperation and competitive federalism among the states. It is nothing but it is an attempt to create a pan-India set of metrics that can measure different dimensions of water management and that are used across the life cycle of the water. Now this index provides useful information for the states and also for the concerned central ministries department and enable them to formulate and implement suitable water strategies for better management of water resources. Now some of the key findings of the report is that majority of Indian states are demonstrating progress on the water index, and high performing states continue to lead on the index, and low performing states bear the largest burden of national population and economic production. Fine. So let's move to the next question. Now this question is on All India Tiger Estimation. Fine. So I will read the first statement for you. The first statement says All India Tiger Estimation is done every 4 years by National Tiger Conservation Authority. So this statement is correct. Now the second statement says Karnataka has maximum number of tigers in India. So this statement is wrong because it's not the Karnataka but it's the Madhya Pradesh which has highest number of tigers, and it is followed by Karnataka and then Uttarakhand at the third number. Now the third statement says M-Stripes application for digital estimation of tiger populations developed by Wildlife Institute of India. So this statement is factually correct. So correct answer will be 1 and 3, that is option number A. Now some value addition. So the question is all about fourth cycle of All India Tiger Estimation. So the fourth cycle of All India Tiger Estimation shows the count of tigers in India has risen. And this All India Tiger Estimation is done every 4 years by National Tiger Conservation Authority and Wildlife Institute of India in collaboration with the states forest departments. Now, as per this report, all the states witnessed a positive trend except Chhattisgarh and Mizoram, which have shown a decline in the numbers of tiger. Now, during this fourth cycle of estimation, the data was collected using an Android-based application that is called M-Stripes, which stands for Monitoring System for Tigers Intensive Protection and Ecological Status, which has been developed by Wildlife Institute of India. Now, just for your knowledge, all such PDFs, that is question and solution, you can find all such question answer on our official Telegram channel. I will also put that in the comment box after some time. Fine. So let's move to the next question. Now this question is on Great Indian Bustard. Fine. So let us read the statement. The first statement says it is listed as endangered in the IUCN Red List. You might have seen that UPSC always asks such questions. So this is factually incorrect because in IUCN Red List, Great Indian Bustard has been listed as critically endangered and not endangered. Now the second statement says it's a flagship species of grassland ecosystem. This statement is correct. Now the third says Project Gondwana was launched by the Gujarat government to conserve the Great Indian Bustard. So this statement is wrong because this Project Gondwana is certainly there to conserve Great Indian Bustard, but that is not by government of Gujarat, but that is by Rajasthan. So third statement is wrong. Only 2 is correct. So B will be the correct answer. Now some value addition. So Great Indian Bustard is a bustard found in Indian subcontinent. Historically, if we trace the genesis, then it was distributed through Western India, spanning multiple states as well as the part of Pakistan. But today, because of several factors, now the population is confined mostly to Rajasthan and Gujarat with small numbers in Maharashtra, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. Now, Great Indian Bustard, they generally favor flat, open landscapes with minimum visual obstruction, and that is why they are considered as flagship for species for the grassland ecology. Now, if we consider the listing of this Great Indian Bustard, then it is listed in Schedule 1 of the Indian Wildlife Protection Act 1972, and in the Appendix 1 of sites and as critically endangered on IUCN Red List. Now, this Great Indian Bustard is also the state bird of Rajasthan, and Rajasthan government has started Project Godwan for its conservation. So let's move to the next question. So this question is again based on ocean energy, which was in news currently. So let's read the statement. So the first statement says, currently there is no installed ocean energy capacity in India. Fine. So recently ocean energy has been declared as renewable energy by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. And the first statement appears to be a little tricky, but first statement is correct because it has been officially stated by Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Now the second statement says the potential location for tidal energy in India is Kambhat and Kutch region. So this statement is also right. So both statement 1 and 2 are correct. So C will be the correct answer. Now some value addition. So Ministry of New and Renewable Energy has recently declared ocean energy as the renewable energy. And the energy produced using various forms of ocean energy such as tidal, wave, ocean, thermal energy conservation, among others, now shall be considered as renewable energy and shall be eligible for meeting the non-solar renewable purchase obligation. Fine. And as per the official statement of Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, there is no installed ocean energy capacity in India. Fine. And as per the ministry, the total identified potential of tidal energy is approximately 12,000 megawatt, with potential locations identified at Kambhat and Kutch regions and some large backwater regions. Fine. So that's all. Now we'll move to the next question. Now this question is on Jiv Mrutha. So first statement says it's a new anti-malarial drug. Second says it's a mixture used in zero budget natural farming. Third says new government schemes for livestock, and none of this. So this is purely factual question, and the correct answer is it's a mixture that is used in zero budget natural farming. So now some value addition. So zero budget natural farming is nothing but it's a farming which is a chemical free agriculture drawing from the traditional Indian practices. It was originally promoted by Maharashtrian agriculturist and Padma awardee, that is Subhas Palekar, who basically developed this in mid-90s as a counter and alternative to Green Revolution. Why? Because Green Revolution was mainly driven by chemical fertilizers and pesticides along with intensive level of irrigation. So basically Subhas Palekar wanted a solution to this agriculture crisis, which is quite different from that of Green Revolution's method. Now what is this Jiv Mrutha? It is nothing but it's an application. It's a mixture. It's a mixture of fresh Deshi cow dung. Along with that, we have aged Deshi cow urine, jaggery, pulse flour, water, soil, etc. Fine. Now, it is a fermented microbial culture that basically adds nutrient to the soil, and it acts as a catalytic agent to promote the activity of microorganism and earthworms in the soil. Now, there is a similar mixture that is called Bridge Mrita, which is basically a mixture which is there to treat the seeds. Fine. So we'll move to the next question now. Now this question is again a purely factual question. So we have three river linking projects. The first is Ken Betwa, then Koshi Mechi, and the last Par Tapi Narmada. Now we have the statements of benefited states. So this question can be solved easily by common sense, because normally in India, rivers, they cross multiple states, and especially when we are talking about interlinking of river, then it's very easy to understand that interlinking will naturally benefit multiple states. So the first statement which says Ken Betwa will benefit only Madhya Pradesh, that is wrong, because Ken Betwa will basically benefit Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. Now second says Koshi Mechi will benefit Bihar. Of course it will benefit Bihar, but along with Bihar it will also benefit West Bengal and Nepal. Now the third says Par Tapi Narmada will benefit Maharashtra only. That's wrong, because along with Maharashtra this is going to benefit even Gujarat. So in this question basically only option 2 is correct. So correct answer will be option number B. Fine. So I'll move to the next question. Now this question is on Kaleshwaram lift irrigation project, quite famous project. So let us read the statement. The first statement says it will be world largest multi-stage multi-purpose lift irrigation. So what do you think? Is it correct? It's correct. Fine. It's world's largest multi-stage multi-purpose lift irrigation. Now the second statement says it is being built across Godavari River in Nasik region of district of Maharashtra. So this statement is wrong because this Kaleshwaram lift irrigation project is certainly there in Godavari river, but that's not in Nasik region, but that's in Telangana. Fine. So second statement is wrong. The third statement says the advantage of lift irrigation is the minimal of the land acquisition and low water losses. So this statement is factually correct. In fact, this is the strength of this system. Fine. Lift irrigation system. So 1 and 3 are the correct statements. So correct answer will be option number B. Now some value addition. So what is Kaleshwaram lift irrigation project? It is the world largest multi-stage multi-purpose lift irrigation project. And before this, the largest was this Coralda lift scheme in America and Great Man-Made River of Egypt. Now lift irrigation is a method which is a quite an innovative method, and it is a method of irrigation in which water, instead of being transported by natural flow as we see in the canal, instead of that it requires external energy through animal fuel based or electric power, which basically pumps the water by using some mechanical means. And so naturally it has advantage of minimum land acquisition and along with low water losses. Fine. So that's all. So we'll move to the next question. So again, this question is on zero budget natural farming. So we have already done one question on this. So let us read the statements. The correct statement says it is a method of chemical free agriculture based on traditional Indian practices. So this statement is obviously correct. Fine. Now the second statement says it encourages intensive irrigation and deep ploughing of the field. So this statement is wrong because zero budget natural farming basically not encourages, but it discourages intensive irrigation and deep ploughing of the fields. So only one is the correct answer. So option A will be the correct answer. Now since we have done this question before, so it need no much explanation. We'll move to the next question. Now this question is on ozone pollution. Fine. So we'll see what is this. So the first statement says, now notice here that we have to choose incorrect statement. Okay. Now the first statement says ozone is secondary pollutant which gets directly emitted from vehicles, industry or power plants. So what do you think? Is it correct or wrong? It is wrong statement. Why? Because there is a contradictory in the statement itself. Fine. If it's a secondary pollutant, how come it can emit it directly? So basically ozone is a secondary pollutant and it doesn't get directly emitted from the vehicles, industry or the power plant. Fine. So first statement is wrong. Now the second statement says ozone can reduce photosynthesis and slow the plant growth. So this statement is correct. Now the third statement says Gothenburg Protocol aims to abate acidification, eutrophication and ground level ozone. So this statement is right. Since we have to choose incorrect statement, so correct answer will be option number A. Now some value addition. So ozone is what? Ozone is not a directly emitted pollutant, but it is a secondary pollutant which gets formed when emissions from vehicles, industry, power plants, that is nitrogen oxide and volatile organic compounds react in the air under influence of sunlight and temperature. Now what are the harmful effects of this ozone? So ozone basically it causes irritation to the skin and it has negative impact on the respiratory system also. And when the sufficient amount of ozone enters the leaves of a sensitive plant, it can reduce the photosynthesis and slow the plant growth. Now ground level ozone can damage ecosystems and contribute to degradation of forest and their important services. Now Gothenburg Protocol system is there which aims to abate acidification, eutrophication and ground level ozone, and it's a part of the Convention on Long Range Transboundary Air Pollution. Fine. So that's all. We'll move to the next question. So this is the last question for you, and this question is on Earth Overshoot Day. So let's read the statement. The first statement says it is the day when humanity's demand for ecological resources in a given area exceeds what Earth can regenerate in that year. So this statement is, what do you think? This statement is factually correct. Fine. So for example, this year Earth, and so not this year, in 2019, Earth overshoot day fell on July 29th. So what does it mean? It means that by July 29th, we used up all the regenerative resources of 2019, and from July 30, we started to consume more resources than the planet can regenerate in a year. Now the second statement says it is calculated by global footprint network. So this statement is also correct. Now the third says a country's overshoot day is the date on which Earth overshoot day would fall if all the humanity consumed like the people in this country. So this statement is also correct. Fine. Now your for your value addition, just in 2019 this Earth overshoot day was on 1st August. In 2019 it was on 29th July. In 2020 it is expected on 22nd August. So I hope you liked the class. So that's all for today. We'll see you again tomorrow. Fine. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.